You're watching member-supported KCET.
Tonight we have a genuine ghost story and the pictures to prove it, and you'll meet the photographer who has captured many a ghostly image without ever hanging around even one haunted house.
His name is Robert Sheer, and his work looks like this. Photographs with shadowy figures in silhouette hanging out at the beach or exploring the desert by moonlight. You're probably thinking, oh, it's some high-tech computer trick. But think again, these photos are produced without any fancy dark room tricks. And here's how Robert Sheer does it.
So this is my 4x5 view camera, and to do this graveyard spirit shot, I use the moonlight as my main source of light. And because it was dark out here, and obviously we can't show you at nighttime because you won't be able to see anything, we're recreating this during the day, and I would walk around at night through the picture, and you would not be able to see me because it's dark and the negative is recording light and there's no light of me moving around. And then I would take my strobe and flash it towards a gravestone and stand between the camera and the gravestone, blocking the light. And that provided a silhouette to the negative. And then the moonlight for the other 45 minutes, 50 minutes of the shot that this exposure was open, and it's a single exposure the whole way. That provides the transparency that goes through the shadows. When I get here, I strike my pose and make sure that I'm positioned right between the gravestone and the camera, and then I strike a pose, flash the gravestone, and I block the light that hits this gravestone from reaching the camera. So it's not really my shadow that's recorded on the print, it's actually my silhouette. Because it's moonlight, I have a little leeway in how long I can stand here, but if I stay in my pose for over a minute, I start to appear on the negative. But as long as I'm moving around, not staying too long, I walk through the camera or through the whole field here invisibly. The most important thing, and out of all these props, is this flash that I flash onto this gravestone. And you can see it's pretty bright when I flash it towards the camera here. And at night, it really lights up this gravestone. After I leave the frame and the exposure goes for about another 40 minutes or so, the moonlight bleeds through that silhouette, making it look like a translucent shadow, which I call spirit shadow.
Sort of stumbled into this art, didn't you?
Exactly. I was out in the desert one night, because I do these all at night, and I saw a beautiful vista called Trona Pinnacles, and I decided to open up my shutter on my camera for a very long time, and I was just using an ordinary 35mm camera. One that
this is a night shot?
That's a night shot, even though you're looking at qualities of daylight. That's a 2-hour-long exposure taken at night between midnight and 2 o'clock in the morning. And that's all moonlight. But moonlight is sunlight being reflected back towards the earth off of the moon, but at very low intensity.
So you were walking around and you didn't realize that you were, that's you in those little crevices.
That is me. Those little images are all me. And what I'm doing there is flashing the hillsides and trying to duck out the way of the flashes. Luckily, I did a very bad job of ducking out the way because I discovered this whole process. And the neat thing is they're not silhouettes. They end up being these beautiful translucent, shadowy creatures, even though, I mean, it starts off being this, silhouetted image, but the moonlight shines through the silhouettes, the dark black silhouettes, to make them transparent, as well as lighting up the whole scene.
Once you did this and you said, wait a minute, I can actually do this intentionally.
Well, I thought it was an aberration at first, so I had to go test it again to make sure this was actually physics.
They probably thought you were an aberration when they saw you running around a graveyard with a shovel in your hand, too.
Exactly. The police actually came in while I was running around with that shovel. And luckily, it's across from Santa Monica College, where I was attending a photography class there. And I had to point over to my camera, and they said, oh, we get you guys in here all the time, all you photo students. It was pretty funny.
And you can do it multiple times, like here.
Yeah, once I do one, because the negative, and I use a large format negative, but you can use a small one. And so once I have that large format negative, I can walk through the scene and do as many flashes as I want, and the negative remembers light, like an elephant would, remember everything.
And as long as you're moving, it doesn't show up, but I would think there'd be a blur.
Well, that's because it's so dark. Remember, it's at night, and the negative sees poorly most of the time, so I'm cheating the light. Like David Copperfield, I'm a little bit invisible until I want you to see me, and then I do that flash of light, and it goes off at 1/1000th of a second. It's like a lightning bolt.
This one almost looks like an Indian ghost.
Oh, and the background there, you saw the stars going, and that's, some added, beauty that comes out of the shot. Yeah, because the stars are being etched across the sky, the night sky, as the rotation of the Earth
takes place.
Now, you're using one of the oldest cameras, or not the oldest, but a 50-year-old speed graphic.
A 1953, yeah, speed graphic. So there's nothing, new about this photography.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm going really backwards
It's just the
to go
technique
forward.
that's new.
Right. This could have been done 100 years ago in photography if somebody had just discovered the spirit shadow concept. Now, this is part of the painting with light style of photography, but I'm just pushing the envelope in a little bit different direction. One of the special things that came out that I discovered in the photography is that if the moon is up at night, there is a blue sky up there, but our human eyes don't see it because we see black and white at night. We go from cones to rods,
Right.
I think it is. So we mostly see black and white, but the negative, the color negative, sees color 24/7. And then it's also picking up a long exposure, so it's beginning to see it.
And you've had a fair amount of success. Your work is on exhibit at some pretty nice galleries.
It is. I'm at the Michael Dawson Gallery on Larchmont Boulevard right now,
Okay.
and also at the Gallery Michael in Beverly Hills, where they've stuck me next to Picasso and Chagall. So
Ooh, good
what an
company.
honor to be next to some of the greatest, painters in the history, of mankind.
We appreciate your
Fabulous.
joining us, and to
Oh, thank
learn
you.
more about Robert Sheer's photography, you can go to his website. The address is sheerentertainment.com.